If you've been grinding Fate of the Vaal this past week, you already know the feeling, the early game spark followed by that mid to late game letdown. This news patch is GGG's first real response to that whiplash, and today we're breaking down what actually changed, what works, and why the Fate of the Vaal mechanic still isn't quite where it needs to be. So early on, the Fate of the Vaal mechanic is honestly great. You're learning the rooms, you're getting tons of XP, you're interacting with something that looks deliberate. The Vaal Temple itself is a strong concept. It's a slow build dungeon that rewards planning, pathing, and decision making instead of just raw speed. It's one of PoE2's best mechanics on paper, but somewhere around mid-game, the cracks start showing, and by the time you're firmly in endgame, a lot of players are asking the same question. Why am I even doing this? You're running 5 or 6 maps to assemble a single temple, and then that temple gives you less currency than one decent map. The juice just isn't worth the squeeze. Here's the real issue the Fate of the Vaal has right now, and this patch partially addresses it. The mechanics are asking for planning, commitment, multiple map runs, risky encounters, and delayed gratification. But the rewards, they've just been wildly inconsistent. Nothing feels worse than clearing a room, surviving the encounter, and thinking, cool, I guess I just don't get anything. The RNG of maybe this room pays out, maybe it doesn't, feels awful when the entire system is built around effort and setup. If you're going to ask players to invest time, every room needs to matter. That doesn't mean everything has to explode in currency, but something, tiered gear, crafting options, deterministic value needs to be there in every single room. GGG clearly understands that rewards weren't scaling, because the biggest change in this patch is a straight up buff to temple modifiers. They're roughly doubling the values of existing room modifiers at all tiers. On top of that, several tier 3 rooms now add extra enemies directly into the temple, like Corrupted Abominations, Unchained Beast, Royal Sentinels, Royal Colossi, High Priest, and Quadrilla Sergeants. This is good because it ties room progression directly to temple payoff. Upgrading rooms shouldn't feel like it's a checkbox anymore. That's the kind of feedback loop the Fate of the Vaal desperately needs. Another small but important change is the Treasure Vault now adds 25% increased item rarity to the entire temple. That's huge, not because rarity is exciting, but because it finally makes that room feel like it's a real multiplier instead of just a side note. This is the direction the League mechanic needs to lean into. Rooms that meaningfully affect the entire temple experience, not just a single chest or corner. One of the quiet frustrations of the Fate of the Vaal has been crafting benches that felt half-finished. Exalt, Vaal, and Alchemy benches existed, but you couldn't actually take the currency with you. That restriction was meant to be lifted after Act 3, but it just never happened. But now it does. After Act 3, you can finally take those currencies instead of being forced into a single-use decision. It's honestly pretty wild that that didn't make it into the launch of the League, and it still doesn't solve the issue when it comes to lack of currency in the temple. They didn't expand on this issue in the patch notes, but if the amount of currency coming out of those crafting benches is still 1 per bench, the issue remains virtually the same. Another interesting addition is that GGG added medallions that apply random waystone modifiers to your temples for 10 runs, so you can now juice your temples deliberately. This is an excellent addition because the Fate of the Vaal shouldn't be balanced around the lowest risk version of the temple. It should reward players who opt into difficulty the same way high juice maps do. Another medallion allows you to re-roll rooms waiting to be placed. If you ever brick the temple because the game refused to offer you one of the rooms you needed, you already know how important this is. This doesn't eliminate RNG, and it shouldn't, but it reduces that feeling of being completely at the mercy of bad rolls. So now let's talk about the Architect. Before this patch, beating the Architect often felt like a punishment. You'd win, and then lose massive progress, and the rewards rarely justified it. That's being addressed in several ways. Fewer rooms removed after defeating the Architect, better connectivity for reward rooms. Architects can now connect to any adjacent room. Tablet crafting can no longer destroy tablets. Higher tier unique vaults now exclude low value uniques, and extraction chambers are rarer and limited. This is all generally good, because the Architect encounter should feel like a pivotal moment, not a setback you tolerate because you have to. But one of the most baffling issues was how unrewarding Fate of the Vaal encounters felt outside the temple. Now, after completing non-boss encounters, a chest rises from the center. In the campaign, you'll get magic chest, and in the endgame, you'll get magic or rare chest. This should have been there from day one, honestly. It worked great for the Abyssal League and should have been a no-brainer, because killing things without any visible reward is never going to feel good. These changes are a great step in the right direction and a meaningful one, but the Fate of the Vaal still has a fundamental problem. the time investment does not match the payoff. When you have to run 6 maps to build a temple, and that temple gives you less currency than one solid map run, you're not making a strategic decision anymore, you're making a bad one. Every room should be rewarding something. Every temple should feel like a climax and not a gamble. The Vaal Temple is a fantastic concept. It just needs rewards that respect the effort it demands. Patch 040 has been extremely enjoyable for me so far, and this new patch shows that GGG is listening. They're moving Fate of the Vaal towards something better, and hopefully something worth engaging with long term. But it's still not there yet. The foundation is strong, now the rewards just need to catch up. And I hope we continue to see GGG make meaningful improvements to the Fate of the Vaal to really make the league shine. Thank you for watching. This has been Dark Trooper Gaming. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.